Well, no rest for the wicked. The demons never sleep. I'm going to tell you, though, that, it's either the yin or the yang, and I'm going to state which way I think we're going on some things because oil actually is the key to the precious metals. And oil is actually taking a hit, and there's two predictions out there, really, two wild predictions. One group is saying $20 a barrel oil. The other group is saying $200 a barrel oil. Actually, that's coming from Saudi. They're talking about it could possibly go to 200. And Citigroup was talking about it going to 20. And there's other people saying 20. But I'm going to state why 20 is out of the question. But I'll just have to give you that real briefly because it's the yin or the yang, man. It's like in the fingernails, right? So, well, for one thing, oil could possibly go way up because every country's in debt bondage. That's one thing. Everybody's in debt bondage, and what's going on is there's currency wars because countries are devaluing their currencies to try to boost exports, to boost their economy. That's the definition of currency wars. In other words, to boost their economy, they have to boost exports. That means they have to cheapen their currency. That's what Japan's been trying to do all along, too. And everybody's in debt bondage. So how do they get out of debt bondage? Boost production, boost GDP, boost exports. Interestingly enough, China is in debt bondage. Everybody, you heard that garbage from Pastor Lindsey Williams, the snake oil salesman disguised as a pastor. He talked about his elite friend China's the big one. Yeah, I know. China's the big one because the elite over here created it, for one, which is interesting in itself. But let me put it to you this way. China's debt to GDP was 444% in 2007. 7 years later, debt to GDP, as gross domestic product, has risen to 245%. It went way the hell up. It went way the hell up the whole portion of their economy. It went up 100% in 7 years. They're screwed. Now, I actually going to put something out here because I actually put this out a while ago. I don't know how many hits I got on it or whatever the hell it is. I just had to, because I've been trying to beat the point to death that Putin's a New World Order freaking yo-yo himself. And I know there's all these people out there thinking, oh, he's going to save us from the New World Order and the Rothschilds. And I'm like, the only thing, I put out this little video one time, Putin Messianic handshakes all in the club. Yeah, they got a lot of handshakes. Maybe that's a little more proof to people than all the stuff with the KGB and all the other freaking things where he was in the KGB and what other people in the KGB said was going to happen. But communism basically is a branch of the New World Order. And what's going on in Russia, they tried, I don't even want to get into that because I went into that so many times before. It's like they tried capitalism, it didn't really work. So now it's really what's going on is they threw the oligarchs out. Putin all threw them out. They're such crooks, and the state has taken over. But where's all that money going to? If you actually freaking realize where it's going to, it's Putin's inner circle. One group of crooks got eaten up by a bigger group of crooks. So anyway, just to kind of prove the point, I did this video, Putin Masonic handshakes, all in the club. I don't know. I'll point the link on that in the comments. You want to look at that. I'm not really trying to push this type of stuff too much because it's just here nor there. It doesn't really help matters that much. It's not that constructive, but it is constructive in this way that this guy is not your savior. They're all screwed up, okay? But anyway, the thing is, with this debt bondage, that's one of the reasons that since all the countries are devaluing their currencies. I'm a bit tired. Freaking doing too much stuff. All the countries are devaluing their currencies. It's gonna have to raise the price of oil that way. But the other thing is, it's because of the debt bondage. How do they get out of debt bondage? Basically, they got to boost exports. They got to boost GDP to pay it off. So they devalue the currency. Actually, what's going on is currency wars. It's crazy that we are not seeing prices of the PMs go up more, precious metals, due to all these currency wars, or even the commodities. That's because all the money's being held by the banks. Now, crude oil took a hit today, but I got to state this. This is where it's kind of crazy because, by the way, this cat is a secret weapon. I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Where it's kind of crazy is that oil going down is actually going to totally destroy OPEC. Why? Because even though Saudi can handle low oil prices for years and years and years, the other people in OPEC can't. Venezuela is like, holy smokes, man. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's unbelievable how screwed up the situation is in Venezuela. They're one of the members of OPEC. These low oil prices are killing them to the max. Also, Iran. Iran has been getting hit hard by sanctions for years, right? And I said I'm going to talk about this cat in a minute. Iran's going to have been getting hit by sanctions for years. They're hurting it bad already, right? By all the sanctions, these oil prices are killing them. They can't hang on like Saudi. Now the other thing is, yeah, they're in OPEC too, but you got the Shiite-Sunni divide. So they're not really like, they got a business relationship. They don't have another relationship as far as theology goes or religion or any way that you should be thinking, because they each they think of the other one as infidels depending on which side you're on, right? So I mean, there's a lot of freaking ways OPEC can totally break up by the oil being this low too long. And the other thing is, even though this is hurting the shale oil industry and some of the people in the shale oil industry are going down, there's other ones that are still staying afloat, and the U.S. production's moving up. So Saudi's going to have to cut production and to drive the prices up, or else OPEC is through. And if OPEC's through, Saudi's through. I almost think there's a game plan going on here. In other words, I'm leaning more. Well, I don't know if it's going to be $200 barrel oil. $200 barrel oil will happen if there's a major conflict in the Middle East. And I'm kind of wondering about that, since there's been major coups going on behind the scenes with after the king died in Saudi. And I've mentioned that before. There's actually, the major media is talking about palace coups, but not in like a bloody overthrow, but there's been a faction of the Saudi family that's been oppressed for many years, and they're trying to get in the driver's seat again. And well, it could totally destabilize the whole Middle East, and that can lead to something else. They've always said that once this king dies, it could be something that could happen, that something's going to happen over there. They always said that. Now, as far as this cat, this is the new feminine cat of the Ukraine. Now, what this cat is going to do, now, if you believe about the nuke in Kiev, and I'm like, I don't even want to argue that shit anymore. That is so over the top with this bullshit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. The Martians have landed, Hey, whatever. If you believe there's a nuke in, Ukraine, whatever, not Kiev, but if there's a nuke in Ukraine, well, what's going to happen here is we're going to have the feminine cat, and you can see the feminine cat is already being trained by the girls, the ladies right now. It's going to infiltrate back into the rebels' separatist lines, and it's going to get and hotwire those T-72 tanks the Russians gave them, and they're going to drive them back to the Ukraine. And the Ukrainians are going to fill them up with gas and load them up with freaking deterrents and stuff like that, and they're going to blow the Ruskies up to hell and send them back to Russia. So we got the feminine cat on our side, man. The feminine cat is going to do better than the women will by far, because cats are stealthy. But they're being trained by feminine personally, so thus the headgear with the flowers and all that type of stuff. Cats are smart, man. They know what's going on. They got night vision. They don't need night goggles. They can snoop and poop anywhere around there, and they can live off all the dead mice and stuff like that. And once they get inside that T-72 tank, they're highly trained to hotwire it, start it up, and you're going to drive it back to Ukrainian lines. And they got the meow signals and stuff to make sure they know they're friendly, and they're going to be turned around. They're going to be put on the Ruskies. So, I mean, if you believe the nuke, hey, we got the feminine cat on our side. You know what's going on. I don't know. I can't believe the freaking garbage that's on the internet sometimes. It's beyond belief. You know, back in 1938, H.G. Wells went on a radio show with the Martian invasion. And every 30 minutes or 20 minutes, he repeated that it was a skit. And you know what happened? People jumped off freaking buildings, committed suicide, and they said it was a tragedy. But you know what? I almost think to myself, well, some dumb people freaking jumped off buildings and committed suicide because I'm thinking, you know, I just helped the gene pool. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I don't even give a shit, to tell you the truth, you know. I wouldn't even care. You know, I mean, fine. If you really think, you know, if I really believed the Martians were coming, you think I would freaking, you know, be jumping off a roof? Nah, I'd be trying to, like, load up the ray gun or see what kind of bullets kill little green freaking Martians. And after I killed them, what I would do is I'd make a big vat of soup out of them, and I'd use the scientists that make the genetically modified foods and trees as the taste testers for that soup. We'll see how it works on them, man, if they turn into, like, green lizard people or some shit. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man. Giddy rumors don't mean shit. Action means everything. So be a feminine cat and kick some ass. So anyway, you know, I'm just going to say this. Everything's like the world is a goddamn stage. That's what it is. But, you know, there's actually some serious stuff going on. You know, actually, this Obama guy, man, he's disgusted the hell out of me. I wish he was like the king of Jordan. Because it turns out that the American USA hostage, Kayla Mueller, she was killed by ISIS. It's been confirmed. And, you know, she was a really good girl out there doing her job. She worked for all these, I don't know, she volunteered in a women's shelter and worked with HIV/AIDS clinic here. And then she was working in the humanitarian organizations in India, Israel, and Palestinian territories. She wanted to help others. These ISIS fuckers killed her. You know what I say? I wouldn't even spare... I'd be like, hey, we got some old nukes we need to have dismantled. I mean, not the good ones. I mean, the ones that are expensive to get rid of. Is there any radioactive waste that you need to dump in the ocean? I mean, throw it on those fuckers, man. I don't care. I mean, really, you know, humanitarian, how's that? That's my humanitarian mission. You know? You can watch it on YouTube. Hey, the elite are freaking dude. Fucking... I don't care, man. I don't care. I got no sympathy for that bullshit, man. It's just assholes, man. And I freaking just wax all of them. Done. You know? And the more bombs and more Dago lights they light up and the more they torch, they find the better by me. We can make a big show out of it, you know? Burning ISIS candles. And whatever. I don't give a shit, to tell you the truth, man. But this Obama guy, I don't know what the hell's the matter with him. Well, the problem is he sides with those guys. That's the problem. So... But, you know, there's got to be a method to the madness here, because what I'm looking at is Obama was put in by the elite. You know, so I don't even know what the deal is. There's something, like, you better suspect every damn thing, because Obama wasn't some candidate that came out of nowhere. The guy was supported by some of the biggest heavies in the world to beat a president for a specific reason. If the guy's got major Islamic Muslim leanings, there's a plan behind that. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's a plan behind it. And, you know, I want to tell you this deal, man. I know this is kind of a silver update for whatever the hell it is, but, you know, silver's for this catastrophic freaking collapse or some shit partly, right? Well, you know, I call it, like, I don't want to see it collapse, but I look at silver as the backstop to the backstop to the backstop, the last ditch line of defense. You know, I mean, if everything really does go down, silver should function as money. I don't hope for shit to go down, but if it does, silver should function as money, at least one of the forms of money. But, you know, one of the deals I think that they're playing, because this Putin guy is in the club to the max, what's going on is, I think like yo-yos like Alex Jones are here to just format tension. Like, he never freaking presents anything constructive per se unless he's selling that. Like, in other words, go buy my freaking emergency supply this and emergency supply that. You need this. You need this water filter for fluoride because they're all trying to kill you and make your brain dead by having fluoride in your water. No, you need to buy this from me. And go buy your juicy juice because my fat ass lost 5 pounds and I still need to lose another 80. Whatever the hell he said he did. The thing is, he's actually fanning the flames to the max. And, some people aren't buying that, but I buy it all the way because I remember this yo-yo from way back. This guy's a liar. That's all I want to say. But you know what I think is going on? You got to remember that quote by Henry Kissinger. He was quoted as saying one time that Americans would be abhorrent of seeing UN peacekeeping troops in the U.S., but in the future someday, if the situation is right and the tensions have become so high and there's so much turmoil and whatever's going on in the country, well, they would welcome them. And I think what you might see is, even at one point in time, if that ever happened, I don't know if it happens, Russian troops come here to freaking restore order. And Americans actually welcome it as a savior. And at which time, there's not going to be a United States. But as far as I'm concerned, there's going to be the United States because I'll fucking regroup and I'll kick those fuckers out of here. That's my attitude. I'm telling you right now. So, come hell or high water, even if they told me there's no United States, I ain't buying it. That's where I'm coming from, man. So I know a lot of these yo-yos are thinking, the end is coming up for the U.S. If it ever comes up, we're going to regroup and we're going to re-attack those fuckers and we're going to kick them the fuck out. I'm telling you that right now. And, I'm not in the pay of the freaking U.S. government. I'm not being paid by anybody. That's my own free will. And you know what? That's the American freaking military's always been about. Free men doing their own job. I'll tell you that. That's what the deal is. So just remember that we will not be enslaved by anybody. I don't give a shit who they are. It's like I don't give a damn about the current regime, and I don't give a shit about any foreign regime coming here either. That's one deal I'm coming at, and I'm telling you that. I'm a straight shooter to the max. I don't freaking play games for none of this kind of crap. But I do know a few things. But I'm going to try to keep putting more constructive things out on here instead of dramatizing, what's going on in the world. But the situation also in China is freaking pretty damn bad. Everybody's like saying, oh, they've got a bigger economy than us. And I don't know. Do they? They're freaking, their debt to GDP is horrendous, man. It's bad. It's bad. 244%. From 147% 7 years ago, 8 years ago. How's that? So they're screwing up too. Everywhere's screwing up. I think the markets in the commodities are freaking flat out rigged because it really doesn't make sense. The way I'm looking at it too is because even these mines, if you look at their financials, they're losing money, man. They're losing money. It's an essential item, but they realize they got to hang on because once they close down, they're on a debt mill. You know what I mean? That's how they play the game. So they can't hang. All the oil industry and all the mining industry can't hang in on these prices. It's not just the market forces doing this shit. It is rigged. It is. But I think it's going to break at one point in time. But, the only way to really break the elite is not to be involved in their showmanship all the time because the elite are playing us through the alternative media a lot of times too because the biggest names in alternative media, like I'm going to say it again, Alex Jones, InfoWars, Time Warner. Jesse Ventura, Time Warner. There's a load of them like that. They're full of it, man. Don't trust them. Don't trust them at all. So, the USA dissolves. We'll come back as the Cherokee Apache Nation. We'll kick their butt that way and send them freaking Slavic yo-yo Ruskies right back to where they came from. That's the way I look at it. All right, so that's my freaking update. I think oil is going to go up. Even though it's not right now. and not today, but if it doesn't go up, OPEC is through. So Saudi's got no choice but to cut production. I mean, it's like an axiom. It's not even a guess. If oil stays down this low, Iran's not going to stay in OPEC, and neither is Venezuela for sure, or Nigeria. Forget about it. They would be out of it. All the other nations, the only one that can survive these low oil prices for years is Saudi. Plus, they got internal turmoil themselves. So that higher oil prices and more tensions in the Middle East, whenever that really comes up,